Imagine being outnumbered, nearly 3-1, facing the most powerful empire on Earth. Your homeland's very existence is on the line. This isn't a fantasy epic. This was the reality for Gurj Castrioti, better known as Skënderbeg, the national hero of Albania. In the mid-15th century, the mighty Ottoman Empire, led by Sultan Murad II, was an unstoppable force sweeping through the Balkans. One small nation dared to resist Albania. United under Skënderbeg's League of Laku, the Sultan, determined to crush this rebellion, dispatched a massive army of around 40,000 elite soldiers, their mission to erase Albania from the map. Facing them was Skënderbeg with a humble force of just 15,000 men. He knew a direct confrontation would be suicide. On an open field, his army would be swallowed whole. But Skënderbeg wasn't planning on fighting on an open field. His greatest weapon wasn't a sword or a cannon. It was the very land he swore to protect, the rugged, treacherous mountains of Albania. Instead of preparing for a conventional battle, Skënderbeg devised a brilliant strategy of deception. He began a calculated retreat, seemingly abandoning towns and villages. The Ottoman commanders, confident in their overwhelming numbers, saw this as a sign of weakness. They eagerly pursued, pushing deeper and deeper into the Albanian heartland, their massive army stretching out into a long, vulnerable column. Skënderbeg was leading them into a trap. He lured them into a specific location he had chosen long before, a narrow, winding valley, a natural kill box where the Ottomans' numerical advantage would become their greatest weakness. The terrain was so restrictive that their vast army couldn't deploy its full strength. They were like a giant python squeezed into a tiny pipe, unable to coil or strike. Once the bulk of the Ottoman army was compressed within the valley, the trap was sprung. Suddenly, the silent forested slopes erupted. From concealed positions high above, Skënderbeg's soldiers unleashed a devastating storm of arrows, rocks, and projectiles. The Ottomans, caught completely by surprise, were trapped. There was no room to maneuver, no space to form battle lines, and nowhere to run. Then, with perfect timing, Albanian infantry charged down the slopes, slamming into the flanks of the disorganized column. Panic ripped through the Ottoman ranks. Command and control disintegrated. What was meant to be a battle turned into a slaughter. The professional soldiers of the empire, renowned for their discipline, broke and fled in a chaotic rout, hunted down through the very passes they had so arrogantly marched into. The aftermath was staggering. The once mighty Ottoman army was annihilated. Some historical accounts claim their losses were as high as 20,000 men. It was a victory of almost biblical proportions, a true David versus Goliath moment in history. This incredible triumph shattered the myth of Ottoman invincibility. It sent shockwaves across Europe and proved that a brilliant mind could triumph over brute force. More importantly, it secured Albania's independence for decades, allowing its culture and identity to flourish against all odds. Skënderbeg's genius cemented his legacy as one of history's greatest military commanders, a man who turned his homeland's geography into an unbreachable fortress and defended his people's freedom with pure strategic brilliance. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into military history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing stories. We'll see you in the next one.